What's up, everyone? Today, we're diving into a story that's haunted Austin, Texas for over 30 years. A story so shocking, so tragic, and so mysterious that even now, in 2025, it still grips anyone who hears it. I'm talking about the infamous 1991 yogurt shop murders, a crime that shook a city, stole the lives of 4 teenage girls, and stayed unsolved for decades. And now, thanks to modern DNA technology, the truth has finally come out. It all started on December 6th, 1991. 4 teenage girls, Amy Ayers, Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, and Eliza Thomas, were working a late shift at an I can't believe it's yogurt shop in North Austin. For them, it was just another evening, scooping frozen yogurt, ringing up customers, dreaming about their futures, talking about school, plans for college, weekend parties, laughing with each other in that easy, carefree way teenagers do. But what happened that night would change everything. By the end of the night, all 4 girls had been bound, gagged, shot, and the shop set on fire. A gruesome attempt to destroy evidence. The violence was so shocking, so deliberate, it left Austin reeling. People were terrified. Parents were anxious. The city asked the same questions over and over. Who could do this? Why? How could 4 innocent teenagers fall victim to such horror? The sheer brutality of the attack stunned everyone who heard the news. It felt impossible, incomprehensible even, that something like this could happen in a city known for its vibrant, family-friendly communities. Investigators initially hoped they could solve the case quickly. They wanted justice. They wanted to bring closure to families and restore a sense of safety to the community. But it wasn't going to be that simple. 2 men were initially convicted based on confessions, but those confessions were later determined to be coerced. They hadn't committed the crime. The legal system had failed. Families endured not only the loss of their daughters, but also the bitter reality that the wrong people were being blamed. Every lead seemed to hit a dead end. And for years, the case stayed cold, haunting the city and leaving families in a limbo of grief and frustration. The victims themselves deserved to be remembered, not just for the tragedy, but for who they were. Amy Ayers, just 17, was kind, full of laughter, with dreams of college and a bright future. She loved music, hanging out with friends, and had a contagious smile that made everyone around her feel better. The Harbison twins, Jennifer and Sarah, were inseparable and known for their energy and humor. They had plans to go to the same college to stick together no matter what. Eliza Thomas, also 17, was intelligent, ambitious, and had plans cruelly cut short. She had dreams of traveling, studying abroad, and making a mark in the world. These weren't just statistics. They were vibrant lives, stolen in a moment of senseless brutality. Remembering them is essential. It's what makes this story so heartbreaking, and it's why pursuing justice was so important. The investigation faced enormous challenges from the start. In 1991, forensic science was still developing. DNA testing existed, but it was in its infancy, unreliable in many cases, and available to only a few labs. Critical evidence had been compromised by the fire, leaving investigators with fewer clues than they needed. They had to rely heavily on witness accounts, physical evidence that was partially destroyed, and the coerced confessions of 2 innocent men. Every misstep complicated the case. Every dead end left families without answers. The city of Austin lived under the shadow of a crime that seemed unsolvable. Fear and tension were everywhere. People stopped going out at night. Teens worried about working shifts alone. Parents locked doors and triple-checked windows. Fast forward to the 2000s. Forensic science started to evolve dramatically. DNA technology improved, becoming more accurate and capable of analyzing smaller, degraded samples. Cold cases that had been unsolvable for decades were revisited. Investigators realized that even the smallest, most overlooked piece of evidence could now hold the key to solving a mystery. In the yogurt shop murders, this hope became reality. Items from the crime scene were reanalyzed. What once seemed insignificant, a strand of hair, a trace of skin, a microscopic particle, became the cornerstone of a breakthrough. Evidence that sat untouched for years was now revealing the story investigators had been desperate to uncover. By 2025, the shocking truth finally came to light. The real perpetrator was identified: Robert Eugene Brashers. He wasn't just any criminal. He was a serial offender with a history of violent crimes across multiple states. He had evaded capture for years. Known for his calculated approach to murder, Brashers didn't act impulsively. He planned, observed, and struck when it suited him. He died in a police standoff in 1999, but his DNA lived on. And it was this DNA that finally confirmed his responsibility for the yogurt shop murders. Brashers' criminal history made him particularly difficult to catch. He had a pattern, a signature, a way of operating that allowed him to commit crimes without immediate detection. Investigators discovered he targeted vulnerable individuals, planned his attacks carefully, and left just enough evidence behind to be found decades later, once technology caught up with his methods. His identification brought relief and closure to families who had waited over 30 years, but it also forced the community to confront failures in the early 90s justice system. The breakthrough wasn't just about solving a decades-old mystery. It was a testament to the power of modern forensic science. DNA technology evolved from something rudimentary to something incredibly precise. Ballistics analysis, once limited, now provided definitive evidence linking Brashers to the crime scene. Investigators meticulously cross-checked every detail. No room for doubt. For the first time since December 1991, there was clarity. There was justice. The impact on the victims' families was profound. For decades, they had lived with uncertainty, grief, and frustration. Every holiday, birthday, and milestone carried the weight of unanswered questions. Finally knowing who was responsible allowed them to mourn with understanding rather than confusion. They could honor Amy, Jennifer, Sarah, and Eliza for the lives they lived, not just how they died. While nothing could bring the girls back, Brashers' identification offered closure that had long been denied. The community felt the impact, too. The yogurt shop murders left an indelible mark on Austin's collective psyche. Parents remembered the fear of that night. Teenagers grew up with the story as a cautionary tale. The case's resolution decades later brought relief, but also a sober reminder of how fragile safety and justice can be. Communities learned to value persistence, the importance of evidence, and the need to hold the legal system accountable. The case also teaches lessons about law enforcement and the justice system. The wrongful convictions highlighted how pressure, misinformation, and coerced statements can devastate lives and delay justice. The yogurt shop murders became not just a crime story, but a study in procedural caution, the importance of evidence, and the need for innovation. Even the toughest cases can be solved if persistence, expertise, and science are applied. Brashers' identification sparked broader discussions beyond Austin. Cold cases nationwide are being revisited, hoping other perpetrators who thought they escaped justice can be caught. DNA technology has revolutionized how investigators approach old crimes. The yogurt shop murders became a symbol of possibility. Even after decades, truth and justice can prevail. What makes this story so compelling is how it bridges past and present. The 1990s relied on witness accounts and confessions. The 2020s are defined by technology that allows evidence to speak decades later. The yogurt shop murders show that even the darkest cases can be illuminated. Beyond technology, this is a story about resilience. The resilience of families, investigators, and communities. Persistence led to resolution. It's about not giving up, about honoring victims, and about the human pursuit of truth. For over 30 years, Austin waited. And finally, science and determination delivered answers. The yogurt shop murders also remind us of life's fragility and the randomness of tragedy. Ordinary girls with ordinary dreams, taken in extraordinary cruelty. That randomness is what made the case haunting. And it's what makes Brashers' identification so significant, restoring order and accountability, even if the past can't be undone. For law enforcement, this case is a benchmark. It shows the importance of revisiting cold cases, the value of technological tools, and the need for meticulous investigation. For the public, it's a reminder that even when the system fails temporarily, persistence, patience, and science can prevail. The yogurt shop murders are not just a story of crime. They're a story of hope, justice, and closure. In the end, the yogurt shop murders are more than a headline. They're a human story. They remind us of lives lost, families affected, communities changed, and the power of perseverance. Amy Ayers, Jennifer and Sarah Harbison, and Eliza Thomas will never be forgotten. Their memory lives on in the hearts of their loved ones and in the lessons learned and justice finally achieved. And that's the story of the yogurt shop murders, a case that haunted a city for decades, finally solved thanks to DNA technology, persistence, and the commitment to uncovering the truth. Justice may be delayed, but it is never denied.